Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to welcome Hale Dwoskin to the Desire Factor podcast. Hale has dedicated more than 4 decades to teaching and sharing the Sedona method, which we're going to talk about, which helps people alleviate their suffering and discover the truth of who they are. Hale is the author of the New York Times bestselling author, The Sedona Method, and the co-author of Happiness is Free and It's Easier Than You Think. I love that. With his mentor, Lester Levinson. He's one of the featured teachers in the book and also the movie and The Phenomenon, which spread waves of consciousness around the planet, The Secret, as well as the featured teacher in The Greatest Secret, which is a phenomenal book by Rhonda Byrne that she quotes Hale quite a bit and really profound things that are quoted in there. He is also featured in the movie Letting Go. Hale is the director of training, chief teacher, and spokesperson of the Sedona Training Associates, an organization created to promote the emotional releasing techniques inspired by his friend, mentor, and teacher, Lester Levinson. He is also a founding member of the Transformational Leadership Council, which I am a part of. So, Hale, I'm so happy to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, likewise. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. So what is the Sedona method for those that don't know what it is?
Oh, sure. Well, the Sedona method is just a set of tools or questions that help you tap a natural ability that everyone has, but often they forget they do. And that's our ability to let go of the stress, the tension, the anxiety, the self-doubt, the limiting beliefs that hold us back from being that which we truly are and being and doing whatever we desire. And so because it's natural, it's something that once we learn how to do, it becomes second nature. It's something that we find we do naturally as part of everything we're doing in life.
That's beautiful. And so for people that are maybe facing a little bit of turmoil in their lives from maybe people evacuating with fires or getting ready for hurricanes or, whatever the things, the pandemic or things that are going on right now, the big split.
There's one or two things.
Yeah, a couple things, right? There's the to vaccine or to not vaccine, right? There's this whole split and this whole stuff that's going on with people right now. How can the Sedona method help them with all that?
Well, first off, this right here, right now, there's a part of you that is already wholeness, completeness, light, love, peace. And one of the keys is to allow that to become your living experience. We often look for it outside of ourselves. We look for it in trying to keep ourselves safe or trying to make the right choice or trying to have the right toys, the right relationship. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. But if we're looking for that happiness there or that joy or that peace, it never seems to be quite complete. Yeah. And so the Sedona method helps you in two ways. One is it helps you get in touch with that natural peace or joy or beingness that is right here, right now. And the other thing that the Sedona method helps you to do is it helps you let go of what's not essential. Your thoughts and your feelings. They're useful tools, but they can get in the way because we can get lost in them. We identify with them. We believe what they say without question. When if we just question our thoughts and feelings a little bit, we can discover that they're not true always, and they're not us. And because they're not us, we can also let them go. And each time we do let go, what happens is we gain inner clarity. We have more of a sense of intuitive knowingness. We feel guided. We feel supported. We feel nurtured from within. And that naturally flows out of us into all our activities. We become a source of light and of love, not just for ourselves and for our bodies, but for the world and for the people that we care about. So what the Sedona method can do is it can practically, in this moment, help you to drop whatever's holding you back and to recognize and embrace and open to that beauty and love and peace that's right within you.
Yeah. So let me play devil's advocate for a minute. So, you and I understand that an emotion is not real. It's not who we are, and yet it's very real. And so for someone that is there, they're like, what do you mean it's not real? That anger is real. That frustration I'm feeling towards this person is real. I mean, how do you help someone understand, when they're feeling all their emotion, it's like what's what they feel and experience. How could you say this is not real, right?
Right. Well, again, it's a real experience, but it's being colored by the emotion. It's being colored by the thoughts, and our emotions and thoughts are filtering what we're experiencing. They're making us feel like, for instance, if we're angry at someone, we feel like they did something to us, or I need to get them back, or we get lost in this whole story based on the anger feeling. But when we let go of the anger itself, the story drops away, and then we can still choose how to respond to them appropriately, but we're not just reacting. When we're reacting, it's like playing ping pong or playing a game with someone. They hit it to you and you hit it back harder, and they hit it to you and you hit it back harder. And soon it just escalates. And pretty soon both you and they forget what you were even arguing about, but it becomes,
Right.
it loses control. But it de-escalates when you recognize it isn't the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
It de-escalates when you actually say, well, wait a minute, can I let this go? And when you see that you can, and you do, then your thoughts instantly start to change. Your perspective instantly starts to change, and you actually naturally start to find harmony. You start to find cooperation. You start to find people wanting for you what it is you want for yourself. And you also feel the same way towards them. You want for them to have whatever it is they want for themselves. So then there's mutuality. Then you can find common ground. You can be more supportive and nurturing and caring for each other, because you're not like this. Your gears aren't grinding against their gears. And when we get ourselves out of the way, then we allow for this natural flowing beauty that is possible right here, right now, in this moment.
Yeah. It's for me, it's that feeling of let someone have their opinion, express their opinion, but you don't have to take it on. You can go,
Right.
That's an interesting perspective. Right. And there's, like you said, the word is beautiful, mutuality. There's this, I can feel how I feel and I'm honoring myself, and you can feel how you feel and I'm honoring you. I'm not going to try to change you. Don't try to change me. Right. We can have these conversations, but when the emotions are, so high, when there's a over, containment of the emotions lead the conversation, and there's that reactivity instead of the centeredness and calmness, and being able to, connect that love with each other out of mutual respect.
Yes, absolutely. I agree 100%.
So we're really talking about letting go.
Yes, absolutely.
So what does letting go have to do with The Greatest Secret? Because there's we all know Rhonda Byrne's movie and The Secret or book called The Secret. And now she has a book called The Greatest Secret, which you have been throughout the book quoted, and really, really important information that has been shared, to really demonstrate this greater secret, right? That it's really not about attracting all the stuff. There's more there.
Yes, no, absolutely. So first off, let me just define what I mean by letting go in a very simple way, because sometimes people come to us and we overcomplicate things. We think it's much more difficult. It's much more complex. It's harder than it actually is. So everyone listening to me, pick up a pen or a pencil. Now, if you're in a car, just imagine this. But if you're in a place you can do this, pick up a pen or pencil, an object that you can hold in your hand. And for the sake of this analogy, the pen or the pencil, the object represents our thoughts and feelings and our limiting beliefs and all the pain and suffering that we think is very attached to us. And your hand represents your gut, your awareness. So now take the object and grip it really tightly with your hand. Now, if you did this long enough, it would start to feel really familiar and really uncomfortable, because this is what we're doing all the time.
Yeah.
So that's enough, though. So roll the object around in your hand. Now, is this object attached to your hand? Obviously not. But if you think about even how we express ourselves usually, we don't usually say, I feel angry. We say, I'm angry. I am the anger. We don't usually say, I feel sad. We say, I'm sad. But every emotion, every limiting thought or feeling or belief or idea we have about ourselves is as attached to us as this object is attached to your hand. Mm. So now lightly grip the object, turn your hand upside down, and then could you just let it go? That's what I mean by letting go. It's you're actually just stopping holding on. You just open.
Yeah.
And in that openness, the limiting energies flow through you instead of sticking to you. When you're not resisting them, when you're not saying no to them, when you're allowing the emotion to be as it is, it simply dissolves.
Yeah.
And so that's the key, and that's what one of the things that we talk about in the Sedona method is. It's the how-to of surrender, the how-to of letting go.
That's so beautiful. It's so needed. And like you said, we think it needs to be so hard. It's just drop the pen, you know? Yeah, just let it go. I mean,
yes.
And there's lots of tools, obviously, and thank God for, teachers like yourself that have come along for many decades and showed different ways of letting go.
Yes, and actually, I'd love to demonstrate one or two as part of our conversation.
Love it.
When I do these, I've lost track, but probably thousands of interviews, and in every interview, I try not to just talk about what I do. I try to give people some tools or techniques they can immediately start to use to feel lighter, happier, more capable, more alive, more aligned. So at some point in our conversation, I'd love to do that. Let's
do it now. Let's do it now.
Sure. We talked about it. Might as well.
Right. Perfect segue.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not now?
That's right.
Now. We actually talked on Hale's podcast. It's called The Greatest Secret Podcast. You could go listen to it on his podcast as well. And we talked about that. We talked about, it's just letting go, right? And and there's now, and all there is now, and what keeps us out of the now. So, but I would love for you to do that now.
Sure. So I'll start. The first technique I'd like to share is just the very beginnings of the Sedona method, and I'm starting with something very simple, because if you keep it simple and you accomplish this, then you can move on to accomplish the next thing. But I have to give you a qualifier. What often happens is, because this is so simple, it gets discounted. And years ago, I did a seminar as a guest. Well, I was a guest at a Jack Canfield seminar, and it was videotaped. And Jack gave me the interview so I could use it to share with other people. And in that, and we used to send that interview out. It wasn't an interview; it was a seminar presentation I did for. I think it was about a couple-hour presentation. Jack and I are good friends, and so he gave me a big chunk of his Breakthrough to Success seminar to present, and the only technique I gave out during that seminar was this technique I'm about to do. And we used to send the tape out to people. First, it was a cassette. That's how old this is. And then it was a DVD. And, and just from that, we got testimonials every day from people letting go of fears and phobias and and long-standing health issues and other problems that they thought were insurmountable. So be open to the simplicity of this. I'm going to have a drink before I keep talking. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and these questions are very straightforward. And the first question is, could you let it go? And if you could actually drop that object a moment ago, you could even imagine dropping something, or if you've ever dropped anything, which we sometimes do by accident, then that's all I'm talking about. It's just simply opening inside and letting go. So the first question is, could you let it go? The next question is, would you let it go? And would you just means, are you willing to? And if you're doing this on your own, which I highly encourage you to do, you can ask yourself, would I rather hold on to this suffering or this limitation, or would I rather have freedom or my goal? And usually the answer is, I'd rather have the freedom.
Right.
And the last question is when. And when is an invitation to choose to do it now. And so I'll take you through these questions. I won't do it with you, Christy, because I don't want to put you on the spot. I want everyone listening to this to join us in this as like a group process. And I'll only do it 2 or 3 times. But each time we do it, you'll find that if you stay open to it, everyone listening to this, if you stay open to it and you allow for the simplicity of it, you'll start to feel something shifting inside. And you don't have to debate this or think about it too much. Just allow yourself to respond yes or no. Sometimes when you say no to these questions, the letting go is even deeper because you're just being honest. So it's not about modifying what you say or think. It's just about being open to this natural ability within you. So in this moment, could you just simply pause or stop and allow yourself to just simply be for a moment? And then allow yourself to think of something in your life that you're wanting to change or improve. It could be in relationships, it could be in money, it could be in health, it could be about the world, or it could be you just want to feel happier, more at peace. And whatever it is, could you just welcome that whole thing? And welcome however you feel about it. Just let it be here. Be present with it. And then as best you can, just for now, could you let the feeling go? Just could you? Would you? When? Now, if you stayed with me through this, you probably started to feel something unhooking, opening inside. And if you're not sure, don't worry about it. This is new to you, and it may take a few more times or you practicing it on your own before you get really confident and comfortable with this. So let's do it another time. Allow yourself to focus on that same thing or anything else that you're wanting to change or improve, where there's some inner contraction inside of you. And could you just allow or be present or welcome whatever is coming up inside of you? And then as best you can, just for now, could you let that go? Just could you? Would you? When? So that time you probably felt a little letting go on each question. So let's just do it one more time, just so you get more of a sense of it. And when you're asking it on your own, you go at your own rate. I'm picking up medium speed Some people like to do it faster. Some people like to do it slower. I'm picking a medium speed. That's better if for a facilitation where you're not just working one-on-one with someone or with yourself. So again, focus on that same thing or anything else. And could you just allow or be present with or just welcome whatever you're feeling, whatever is being experienced? And then as best you can, just for now, could you let it go? Just could you? Would you? When? So what I highly recommend you do is keep working with that. You'll find that the more you work with those simple questions in the moment, the releases will happen more and more quickly. And you'll get to the point, excuse me, where you might find that you don't even need the questions. You'll find something coming up inside and you just let it go.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to break down letting go.
Excuse me.
It is so simple.
It is really, because it's natural. If you, do you have children?
I do. I have 2 boys.
Well, then, and anyone who's ever been around a young child have probably seen this happen. If you've ever seen a young child fall down and then look around to see if they need to be upset. If they catch mommy and daddy's eye, then they generate an upset for a moment so they can get the approval they're wanting. And then they just let it go. It's like it never even happened. Or they'll have a knockdown, drag out fight, not necessarily physically fighting, but they'll be yelling at each other with their best friend. And then once it's done, they let it go. And then 10 minutes later, they're playing together like nothing happened. Well, we as adults have lost touch with that ability to just let go because we're programmed out of it by society, by our parents unwittingly. And we just contract more as we age because we're trying to fit in. We're trying to get everyone to like us. We're trying to do the right thing. And in doing that, we lose touch with this natural ability. But once you get in touch with it again, the more you get in touch with it, the more it becomes spontaneous and natural, just like it was when you were a young child.
Yeah. I remember we were driving somewhere with my husband. For a birthday gift, he was going to go test drive a Ferrari and a Lamborghini.
That's fun.
Go around the track. And so we were about 45 minutes away from our house, and we were about 15 minutes away from our house. And my son, Maxim, I think he was about 4 or 5 at the time. And he was sitting in the back seat, and all of a sudden he goes, "I miss my home." And he just starts crying. And I just turned to him in the back seat and I gave him my hand and I just let him cry. And he was feeling every emotion. And he just started crying and he cried for about 90 seconds, if give or take a couple seconds. And then all of a sudden he wiped away his tears and he's like, "Ooh, a cow," and he was just, right. And I watched this, which is observing him, letting him have his emotions. Nobody, yes. My other son, my husband, myself weren't trying to go, if that was me in the backseat, I would have gotten, "What are you, an idiot? We'd be gone for 15 minutes. We're only going to be going," trying to rationalize me being in my emotions. And that was such a gift for Maxim to have that freedom to do that. But at the same time, it was a gift to witness how quickly he just cycled through the emotion of feeling sad. And then he was happy the rest of the day.
Yeah. We as adults have forgotten. I mean, I people come to our seminars or we get feedback from people where they've been stuck in the same thought or feeling or emotion or belief that they had when they were 10, and they're now 70.
Yeah.
And it's still playing over and over in their minds. And then they release, we ask this question or some similar set of questions and it releases and they go, "Where did it go?
Right.
How come I held on to this for 60 years?"
Yeah.
There was a man in a seminar who in his 90s, and he was learning the Sedona method. And it was a beautiful thing to see is that he said, "My only regret he was actually a very sweet guy. He's the father of one of our original instructors. And he said, my only regret is that I didn't learn this decades and decades ago, because even as a 90-year-old, he was able to just let go and feel tons lighter and happier and more alive in this moment.
Yeah. I mean, that's everything.
It's true.
It's you know, to just feel divine joy like that for no reason. Our friend Marcy Scheimoff.
Yes.
Happy for no reason.
Yeah, we have a lot of mutual friends.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
we do.
Marcy, I'm going to see her in about a month, but she's going to be swinging by my area. But yeah, Marcy wrote 2 great books: Love for No Reason and Happy for No Reason.
Yeah, and so you have a new book, right, called Happiness is Free. So I would love for you to talk about that, because that what we're talking about, everything that just shifted didn't cost anybody anything to do, right?
Yeah.
And I remember seeing a T-shirt once and said, money can't buy you happiness, but it can get your butt on the boat. The rest is up to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So tell us about Happiness is Free.
Well, Happiness is Free, and It's Easier Than You Think is a book that I actually, it's a combination of material from Lester Levinson, who was my mentor, the man who inspired the work that I do, and then commentary and exercises from myself. And what it is it's a very profound compilation of 35 sessions with Lester, describing things like what is love, what is truth, what is enlightenment, how can you be happy, and many other core questions. And then at the end of each chapter, I give a different exercise that people can do immediately to start experiencing it, and a different part of the Sedona method so they can experience that as well. And the Happiness is Free book, we actually just republished. I originally wrote 5 books in 6 weeks in 2001, but they were 5 books. And Rhonda, they were actually originally based on a book called Keys to the Ultimate Freedom. And Rhonda Byrne had that book still has that book on her nightstand. And she's had it it must have been since the 90s. Yes, since the 90s, she's had that book.
Wow.
And she quoted myself and Lester about 80 or 90 times in The Greatest Secret.
A lot.
And so most of it was from that book.
I have tabs.
Oh, I see.
And these are all Hale tabs.
But anyway,
all of your quotes are marked.
Yes. So anyway, so she, because she was quoted that book so much in the Greatest Secret, I decided to combine it all into one, so people wouldn't have to buy 5 books; they could just buy 1 book. And then I updated all the parts for me, where I just brought it, it was originally written in 2001, and the Sedona method has evolved tremendously since then. There's a much broader set of tools, and it's much more focused on what's in The Greatest Secret, that full self-realization. In addition to self-actualization, it's always been about both of those things, but the self-realization, the recognizing of the truth of who you are, has become front and center. So I had a lot more technique I could put in that people could use. So put that all in the book, and Rhonda actually wrote the foreword to the book. So that's what Happiness is Free is, and it is just a great way if you want to go more in depth about truth. Experientially.
Beautiful. And so where can people pick up Happiness is Free?
It's sold
everywhere.
Books are sold. Yeah.
Amazon. Do you have a specific website or anything like that you want to share?
Our website for the Sedona method and Happiness is Free is Sedona.com. That's Sedona.com, just like the city in Arizona.
I love it. You have Sedona.com.
Yes.
For the Sedona method.
That's right.
Awesome. That's awesome. Anybody searching up Sedona, they're going to find the Sedona method.
That's true.
How brilliant is that?
Yes.
Beautiful. So, Hale, this has been amazing. I'm very grateful to have been on your podcast and had the depth of the conversation that we had there, and to have you here on my podcast, and, just really grateful for all the work that you've done in the world, and even your mentors that mentored you, Larry Levinston, and all the things that you've done to help people really become, like you said, self-realized, beyond self-actualized, and it's a big difference. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. You're a delight, and it's been fun to have this conversation with you. Well, actually,
thank you so much.
We've had two conversations.
Two conversations now, yes. Looking forward to keeping in touch. And so go get the Sedona method, and happiness is free, because you're going to learn a lot more, and you're going to feel really expanded when you read it. And the truth of who you are resonates with you and comes out. It's like when I read that book and I read those true statements, it's like I feel that truth. And so everybody go get the books, and you'll be able to feel that as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Have a great day.